guys, Brittany Michalchuk here. I'm with my good friend Jesse, and he is a phenomenal human being. So I'm so excited that you guys are here today for this interview. And I want you guys to go check him out on Instagram right now, because he is one of my favorite people to check up on IG. He is inspiring. His content is uplifting and impactful, and his video content and photo content is absolutely beautiful. He is an amazing world traveler. So Jesse, can you spell out your Instagram?
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm super excited to finally be on the podcast. Yes, I can. Meester. Meester.com is also my website, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook. You can find me anywhere there. So that's it.
So Jesse, I know you experienced a rock bottom in your life, and it was really challenging. Can you describe a little bit about what that was like and how you dealt with it? Like, how did you overcome the rock bottom?
Yeah. For me, going back to my rock bottom, which was when I was 20 years old, I'm 26 now, in a very, very different place in my life. So going back to when I was 20, I just left the military, had an incredible time. It really, developed me as a man and developed like my vision for the future. But I knew very strong, I wanted to do more. I wanted to inspire. I wanted to help people. I wanted to leave an impact. I couldn't do that where I was. So I started writing things down, and I was eventually surrounding myself with the wrong people, I had a wrong relationship that drained me emotionally, financially, everything.
Yeah.
So up to the point where I didn't have a home.
Wow.
Couldn't pay my rent. I still had a rent back then. So I was like, is this gonna be my life? Is this where I'm at right now? Like, how low can I go, right? So I could only go up from there, and then I was like, all right, let me start studying. Let me start working. So I started doing security work. I started studying psychology as much as I could, like 18 hours a day, just hardcore, because I knew there was more for me that, I just couldn't waste. So I started step by step. And eventually, when I accumulated some money, instead of investing it on materialistic stuff and on the wrong people, the wrong relationships, I invested it in myself. So, and other people. So I hired someone to help me setting up my business. So I was working a part-time job to pay for my own employee.
Yeah.
So from there I was outsourcing, and I saw that because of that I could scale more and more, and I saw the success of the company Meester PT, which is a coaching company for personal training, but also therapy and also business coaching. So we have the pillars: body, mind, psychology. We won the Dutch Fitness Awards in 2018. Very, very, very good award we're very proud of, with the highest rating in Amsterdam. And from there we just went international. We were get in touch with international trainers of the best quality trainers, fitness wise, and psychologists, therapists, everybody. We accumulated that. We now have a team of over 20 people, where we reach so many people individually in observation, right? Because we can't always post about it because it happens one-on-one. What doesn't happen one-on-one is the public speaking events or coaching in groups. But a lot of it is very personal. It's a personal journey. So we boost about it on social. We don't boost about it as much because people can come to us in trust, and that's how we work.
I love that.
From that I just realized, all right, I want to give back more, because I know not everybody, when I started, I didn't have money. I didn't have the opportunity to invest in good coaches, invest in good mentors. So now with my philanthropy, which is now for the second year, an incredible thing we do. We give back every month to a new good cause.
Love
So
that.
instead of hitting on money, I feel that we should give back more than we gain. So much so, legacy over currency, always.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where I feel like people, especially in this entrepreneur game we're in, we just see more dollar signs, but sometimes we lose track of, all right, the present moment is all we ever have, and we can't take that money to the grave. What we're leaving is impact. And I don't know how long I have. You don't know how long you have. We just can create as much impact as we can, as long as we have enough money to eat, sleep, and repeat, and do what we want to do. We good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. So how does one get clarity on how they want to make an impact in this world?
It's certainly not a psychology study of 4 years. It did help me, let's be honest. But more importantly, you'll realize that through giving it your all, to self-assessment every day. So don't just self-assess like, oh, every week or this or that. No, every single day. At the end of your day, am I doing what is necessary to get me where I want to be? Nobody, you can have the best coaches in the world, right? You can invest in that and that. But at the end of the day, all psychologists do, all that we do, is making you question yourself and you answering your own questions. Like it's a Socratic way of approaching. So because we can tell you what to do, we can just give you like a direction. We can be like, this is like a good way to start or this or that. But at the end of the day, this is your life. This is your journey. What might work for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
So people need to self-assess people, and that's hard. Don't get me wrong, because it's
Why
very,
is it
very
so hard for people?
because people are accustomed to a certain lifestyle of a safety net, if you will, right? Maybe a 9 to 5 or a certain financial security, a certain place of like, oh, this is self, right? Self as in, okay, this needs to be in place. I have my home, I have my things going. Like if I leave that safe place, I, might get uncomfortable, and we want to avoid that, right? It's just like our human nature. We want to avoid danger, but life itself is risk. So we, as much as we try to, create a safe haven for everything, financially, emotionally, at the end of the day, we don't know anything. I could be gone tomorrow. I could be having another 50 years of living. I have no clue. All I know right now is that I am here doing this podcast, enjoying it, to see your beautiful smile again, and, just embracing that moment fully.
I love that. And I think that's so powerful that you talked about life is about taking risks, because I agree. I think that's the beauty of creating greatness and success and just being able to really live life according to your own dreams. And so how does one take more risks? How does one become courageous and fearless to be like, I'm living in the now, I want to make a massive impact, and I just want to be able to achieve my goals?
So we covered the self-assessment. So that's one. Then secondly, be honest with yourself. Sometimes the truth is not always like, gonna be really nice. Um, I am now surrounded by people. Can you still hear me, Ben?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm now surrounded by people, and I invite you to do the same. Surround yourself with people that you can just be honest with, like people that have truly good intentions, that want to see you win, right?
Yeah.
Be very, very aware, because along this journey, I've had many snakes in my grass.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I recognize myself in you sometimes. I'm like, we want to help so many people. We want to like let everybody in. But then sometimes people take advantage of you. And then it will drain you. It will maybe take from you financially, but more importantly, it will take away from who you are. Because not everybody wants to see you win. It's not a fairy tale. So it's very, very bad. It's a very dark place sometimes. And that's also what I sometimes hate about my Instagram. I have a love and hate relationship with it.
Me
I
too.
portray this highlighted version of my life, right? And it is
Yeah.
that. It is, don't get me wrong, it's pure. It's that. I'm really traveling all the freaking time. But at the same time, behind that, there is so much work that I really want to be transparent about. That sometimes it's also very lonely because it means, sitting alone at late night, writing
Yeah.
your book, or writing speeches, and that's not always the highlighted version you see. So that's really important. Be truly honest with yourself. Are you really doing what is necessary to get there? um, and then thirdly, surrounding yourself with the right people, um, that are, having the good intentions.
I think that's so important. You have such a phenomenal Instagram account. You have 250,000 followers. You get thousands of likes and comments in a week, and you look like you have this amazing lifestyle. And what I really like that you touched on, and I'm very vocal about this as well, is Instagram is a highlight reel. Instagram is a highlight reel. You don't see all the lonely nights that go into this. You don't see all the blood, sweat, and tears. You don't see all the sacrifices that entrepreneurship and success takes. You see the end result. You see the trips that we get to go on from the financial success that we create. And so I love that you're real with that, because so many people, I think, I see it. I do coaching as well, and I get to get behind those guards and those hidden doors with people.
Mhm.
And so many people just are depressed and sad and have anxiety because they compare themselves to other people, because they compare themselves to these highlight reels of these quote unquote influencers, and they don't see our struggles. They don't
True.
see the challenges that we have to go through. And so I just think it's so important to be like, you guys, this is the highlight reel that I'm going to show you, and also being honest as well, and also being transparent with that. And so I love reading your posts when you're like, guys, like, look, this is my struggle, or this is what I'm going through. And I hope, and I hope to encourage other people as well, is use social media for good. Don't just use social media to just brag about all your wins, but be like, guys, look, this is what I'm going through as well. Just be honest and real with people, because you can't inspire people through being perfect. You inspire people through being transparent and honest, and being like, these are my challenges. This is what I went through. And this is how I got to these highlights of my life by adopting this mindset. Or like you said, which I want to talk about as well, is surrounding yourself by good people. And I think a lot of people listening to this podcast have parents or friends that might be a little bit toxic, and they might have toxic relationships in their life. So how does one choose the right people? How does one get rid of people in their life that are toxic in a very delicate yet sensitive way?
This is such a great question. And I wish I had the perfect answer to be like, this is how you recognize a snake from a really intentionally good person, right? Sometimes the people closest to you are the snakes in your grass, and you have to find out until later, when you have given so much love, so much compassion, so much everything, right? I've been through it, and I still go through it sometimes, and we all do. It's something you can only be mindful of, and with that I mean recognize red flags early, as early as possible, especially when it comes to falling in love, because so many people get blinded. I do. I'm a very hopeless romantic, if you will. When it comes to love, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like, I forget about all the bad. I'm like, oh, let me help you. Here's a credit card. Here's this. Here's that. And I've been taken advantage of, so much so that it drained me, like everything. But anyway, so recognize red flags because they were there for me in the beginning, but because of love, I wasn't seeing them. That's first. Secondly, choose your environment wisely. right? Like if you are at a club every weekend and you consciously, choose to be there, which is totally fine. Like if that's what makes you happy, right? Return on investment is happiness, then do your thing. But if you feel that you can create the right connections there, you're totally in the wrong. Go to masterminds, go to network events. That's where you'll find the right people, high performers, like-minded people. Fish in the right pond. All right. So
Love that.
that's
Fish
really
in the
important.
right
And you could still
pond.
be wrong, but the chances are less likely. All right.
I love that. Fish in the right pond. How do people surround themselves with the right people? Like, where should people go to find these people? Like, you have such an amazing environment of people. How did you find them? How did you build your network?
Well, it seems like I have a lot of, I'm an influencer as well, right? So I have a lot of following and like I do influencer trips and this and that. But my inner circle is very small right now. Like, and with inner circle, I mean like people really, really close to me, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I know you're a great friend of mine. I know you're pure. I know you have a good heart.
Thank
You know
you.
what I mean? So that's very, very true. But it's not for everybody. Not everybody can just enter that circle you have, and you gotta find your way where you want to gradually put people in. What's
Yeah.
here?
Well, one of the things I love that
Yeah.
you said is use your intuition. I think that more people need to look less about what people can do for them, about ladder climbing, like kind of putting like the who's who in their group and just getting used. And I'm very much so like you. Like I give and give and give and give to the extent where I can sometimes get drained. And so I have to be so cautious of who I put in my circle, because if I don't, I can just absolutely drain myself dry, because I love helping people. Like, what makes me feel alive, like what brings me to life, what like really drives me is giving people breakthroughs, is helping people transform their mindset and in turn transform their life. And so I just love helping people. And so it's very similar. We can just get to a point where we're just exhausted. And so I love that you talk about being cautious of who you surround yourself by, because yes, some people will use you, but it's your responsibility to filter those people out.
Exactly.
It's your responsibility to be able to be like, I get a red flag from them. I feel like this person might not have the best intentions. And so it's your responsibility of who's in your life. Like my girlfriends in my life and my guy friends, they would never disrespect me. They would never use me. They would never do anything shady to me. And so I don't have to worry about a lot of these common problems. Like I would never have to worry about them backstabbing me. In the past, I used to have so much drama in my life and people used to backstab me and use me. And I had to take personal accountability to be like, who's in my circle? Who's in my life?
Right.
Yeah, and now that I stopped looking for the wrong things in people and I'm really focused on having people with high morals, high values, extremely high integrity, I don't deal with all the bullshit. I don't have drama. I don't really have problems with people.
Yeah.
And if we do, we come up to very amicable, calm solutions. And so I absolutely loved what you said about using your intuition, finding the right people, and go fishing in the right ponds. When you surround yourself by the right people, you're not going to have all the issues, challenges, drama, and toxicity that most people have. And so that is so, so, so powerful. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit. Just because you talked about how you do have this influence on social media. How did you build your social media platform to 250,000 followers with a cult-like following? Like I read your comments, I see your stuff, and people just absolutely love the information you're putting out. Like, how did you do that?
This is probably the number one thing I speak about, worldwide. The last time we met through the mastermind, We spoke about personal branding. It's something you talk about, and I talk about personal branding. So I think it's a great topic you're here putting on. How do I build? It's just starting. If I go all the way back, when I first opened my Instagram, I had no clue what I wanted.
Yeah.
Until I was like finding a niche. I was like, all right, I love acting, so I need to use it also as a little bit of a portfolio.
Yeah.
I love coaching, so I give context to every post I make. So it's not just, oh, look at me, like all sexy, this and that. No, it has to give context. So portfolio. What is my target group? Woman. 70% of my woman, and it's always like it's now like 72 actually. 72% are women, mostly US.
So your target demographic is 72% women.
Yeah. So
awesome.
What do they
so
like?
What type of
asking
content?
questions, like genuinely having conversations with my audience, like, hey guys, what would you like to see more of?
Yeah.
And also like gauging that. Like for me, it just works to sometimes post about something spiritually, but they will always like to see Jesse. They follow me specifically. So, and yes, that's also the reason why I now have a women's jewelry brand, and we're starting a line, and because we want to give more value to women and appreciate them for the femininity. Oh, wait a second. I am not. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfectly. All right. So anyway, to make it short, I build it by asking the right questions.
Yeah.
What do you want to see more of? All right, that's pictures of me. All right, content, coaching content, giving captions that bring not just motivation, but actual value. And so that's what I started putting out. And I sometimes lost my consistency in the beginning, right? I was like, all right, let me just take 3 days off and like forget about social media. But I immediately saw my engagement dropping. People are like expecting, like right now, like I sometimes when I travel, like I haven't posted in 2 days, I get DMs, Jesse, are you okay? What's going on? Like, are you okay, Jesse? I'm like, whoa, guys, I'm just traveling. It's okay. I'm just like 2 days off social media. So what I do now, what works for me. So find your niche. What works for me is 3 to 4 stories a day to keep the engagement going. And every other day, not every day, because different time zones and this and that, and you want to like give some time for people to engage and like see the post and appreciate. So like otherwise you over satisfy the followers. So just every other day works for me. Consistency, it helps with the engagement. It helps seeing yourself more in the Explorer page for new potential followers, and they're like, hey, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like, beautiful picture. Like it needs to be like catchy, right? That's why it's a highlight, like you said, right? It has to be a highlight version of your life, because at the end of the day, as much as we might say, oh, this works better or this works, but they want to see beautiful pictures, beautiful videos, the most beautiful version of you, right? That's my audience, what likes that.
Yeah.
Every audience might like different things. I know my coaching page, I have a coaching page, Meester, just coaching content. Doesn't care about Jesse. So find your niche, build that out, and be consistent about it, and keep asking, and keep monitoring it. Like, might shift, might want to try new things. But what I really like and what I'm really happy about is Instagram is disappearing the likes. It's already happening in Canada. So I think that will allow new content creators to be more creative, as opposed to trying to compare like likes and engagement like with each other, but actually put out content that they feel will work for them and their audience, and just be creative about it without worrying about the likes.
Yeah. Okay. So I took a little bit of notes while you were talking because it was so good. And I completely agree with you. I talk a lot about how to build your following, how to create a powerful brand on social media. And I completely agree. So number one, know your target demographic. Number two, ask questions. Ask them, what do they want to see more of? What photos, what type of content do they want to see more of? Number three is consistency. I agree with you. Engagement drops when I'm not consistent. Number four is find your niche. And number five is, again, focus on that high quality content, beautiful photos, beautiful videos, and a beautiful version of yourself. People come to you to be inspired, to be moved, to have somebody to look up to. Like, nobody goes to people's pages to be like, I want to find somebody that's a follower. They go to your page because they're looking for a leader. And so what people really need from you, and this is, I'm talking to the listeners, is what people need from you is for you to step into your leadership.
Exactly.
And step into your power and step into your greatness, because that is what's going to move them. And that emotion is, and I'm going to add one more thing to your five steps, is bring that emotion. And you do this so well, Jessie, is you bring emotion in your post, and you're able to communicate that effectively, and you're able to articulate that emotion to be able to move people. So how do you create emotion? Like, how do you create such powerful content that, again, builds a cult-like following? Like, people love your stuff.
I don't care about my following, to be honest.
I know, but it's just,
I will tell you why. Like, the reason why I don't care about my followers is because I'm doing the same thing as I was doing with 10,000 followers. I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just having a bigger impact. I just see it as like, oh, I now have a bigger reach. But at the end of the day, the engagement, the message, like the core message of what I'm doing is still the same. And I will continue to do the same, whether I have 10,000 followers or 300,000 or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just want to scale more and more because obviously I want to reach more people. But yeah, the engagement right now, and also engaging back, right? So they don't just like comment and you like, that's what I see happening a lot and with influencers, but engage back. It doesn't have to be a whole like day that you're busy with it, but at least 2 to 3 hours, try to comment back. And when you do have a moment of spare time, engage back, and you'll see that will help people feel more connected. And also because I'm an influencer, I hate the word, but like I think it's also important to not, when brands reach out, when you have a little bit of a following, like I get like offers, like, can you promote this? Can you do that? Listen, stay true to your core brand and don't just accept everything. Like, oh yeah, I want to promote this iPad right here, and make sure to buy it, and you get a 20% discount. And if you put out that type of content every single or every other day, or I see it happening, you will lose engagement. You will lose integrity with your followers. Now and then it's a different story. If it's close to your brand, like I did a promotion for Staples the other day. Hey, it's about like office stuff, right? Pens and like articles for the office, to help entrepreneurs start their new year. It makes sense. It's aligned with my brand.
Yeah.
But so stay true to your own brand, to your own persona. Yes. Don't be a sellout.
Yes.
It might be very attractive to get all stuff for free once you got like an influencer page. But trust me, it's not worth it when you lose your engagement and your integrity with your following. Period.
Yeah. Oh, you said two things that really hit the nail on the head. You talked about how you have to go and comment back to people. Like, this is one of the things that blows my mind. Like, if you go look at my comments, I try and comment back to every single person. Like, if I'm waiting in line, or I am like waiting for a video to upload, I'm so strategic and conscious of being able to allocate my time to effectively build my business. Like, I think one of the most important things in success and building a successful business is your decisions. And what decisions are you making at every single second of the day. And even your mind, like your mindset and the thoughts that you think and the thoughts you tell yourself is just a decision. And so what are your decisions? And so I 1000% agree with you. And it blows my mind that people want people to invest in them. People want people to obsess over them, and they're not obsessing over their people. And so that engagement is so important. And I think the engagement is like a buzzword. Everyone's like, how do you grow your social media? And everyone's like, engagement, because you can't do all that shady black hat stuff. Instagram will shut you down. You have to be able to build your social media, and that engagement is so important. Because I use this example. It's like if I came up to you at the mall, Jesse, and I was like, hey, I love your pants, or I love your outfit, or I think you're just a wonderful human being, like you're super inspiring, and you looked at me and walked away, how would I feel? I feel like that'd be so rude. I'd be like, wow, I just gave you a compliment and you're not even willing to acknowledge me. And so it's like social media too. It's like someone comments on your page and you're not even willing to acknowledge their existence. And so I think that anyone listening to this, you guys, I really, really, really encourage you to engage with people, engage with every single comment. I mean, I have almost a couple 100,000 followers. You have over a couple 100,000 followers, and we are still engaging with people. I try and respond back to every message. I respond back to every single message that's work related.
For me, that's great. Yeah. And again, like,
if we have time to do it, you should too.
That's the best way. I agree. Like, I should too. Like, when I'm about to go to the airport, right? So like when I'm waiting for my plane, like I use the time. Like, I totally agree with you. It's, like, again, like just with me, like sometimes you get so many comments, like it's like, all right, and then
you can't do them all.
I have to engage on my new post, and like, so, but absolutely engage. I 100% agree. I think it's a very good example you're giving. Another thing I wanted to talk about is also people and personal brands complaining about the algorithm all the time. I'm like, it's changing every single day.
Yes.
You can analyze it as much as you want, and you can complain about it. Oh, the algorithm this, and I don't get as much engagement on my post. At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just keep your content coming. I have posts too. Like sometimes I get 7,000, sometimes I get 8,000. I don't know how much likes I'm gonna get, and I don't really care, right? It's like I keep consistent, and sometimes I do better and sometimes I do not, but I do not complain. I do not personalize it. I'm not gonna like, oh, the algorithm, this and that.
Yeah.
It's part of the game.
You're not going to let it deter you. You're going to focus on your strength, which is content creation. And your content is absolutely amazing. Guys, if you guys are on your cell phones, I want you to go to Instagram right now and give him a follow and send him a message. His Instagram is JESSEMEESTER. And go comment your favorite things that you learned in this podcast from him, or go give him a shout out and say, heard you on this podcast, and go follow him. And I want you to check out his content, because his content is some of the best content that I see on social media.
So
it's true. I love it. I love studying social media. I love studying content, and your content is just absolutely amazing. So how does one create better content? Because I think that social media is comprised of three things. It's comprised of photos, so high quality photos, which you nail, videos, and copywriting. So what's the text that you put in it? So what would you say your strength is, and how do you create high quality videos, photos, or text? Or if you could go into detail a little bit about each one, what the most important things or thing is to be able to create that high quality content.
So the basic, start seeing it as your portfolio, whether you are an actor or an entrepreneur. Okay. So once you have that mindset of building your portfolio, you want it to look the best possible. So you're like figuring out, strategizing, all right, what is the best post I can put up right now? Also, when you're walking around, like I travel all the time, right? Like I see some lighting, I see a nice location, or like I'm in a spa and it's so beautiful. I'm like, wow. Then I'm like grabbing my phone, take a picture of it, And then later on, or when you want, you have the right caption in mind, it all falls into its place. And then with your niche, or whatever works for you, I'm explaining what works for me now, I post that. Also, what works really well for my brand, because 72% is woman, couple things. We were about to do a shoot, you and I think it will do great, like you and I in pictures and like video, you know what I mean? Because people love couple stuff, not just ego, not just you. What does really well on Instagram right now, even the couple pages, people have now like pages of just them together, families, this and that, involve more people. That works incredibly well. Actually, those are my top performing posts, the ones where I'm with other influencers, like other women, or like this. They love that. Yeah, it's just like
so your target demographic is hopeless romantics, and so they love, I guess they must love seeing that dynamic.
I think everybody, especially women, just love romance.
Yeah, that's so true.
So I would
guys
say,
take notes. Just kidding.
Yeah. So once you know that, and like if you have only men following you, it wouldn't work. But for me, that's my brand. So like, yes, I share my emotion, I share my my experience, I share my vulnerabilities, but I also show pictures of myself that they appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, and yes, you get comments like "marry me" and "my baby," this and that, but that's part of Instagram, right? Like, you focus on the actual impact of like people, and you can see the comments. It's there. Like, people like say like are so involved in my life. It's beautiful, and sometimes it brings me to tears. Because
I know, me too. I like feel like such a loser sometimes. Like when I get testimonials and videos, I'll like sit there crying, and I'm just like, because I know you get it. It's like we're actually changing people's lives, and that's how we use social media. And yes, social media can be a double-edged sword. You can waste a bunch of time, and you can compare yourself to other people and beat yourself up. It can be a very toxic place for a lot of people. But let's focus on the good. Let's use social media to impact people. Back in the day, our grandparents didn't have this platform to be able to change the fucking world, you guys. And we have access to this. I love how you use it for good. And the other thing you touched on is vulnerability. And I wanted to ask you about that afterwards. But it's so powerful. And I do want to find out, like, how are you so comfortable being vulnerable? Like, I feel like it's so hard for people, like even for myself. Like, I made a post just about overcoming my challenges, and I actually admitted for the first time on social media a couple days ago. I can't believe I'm admitting it on this podcast.
Respect.
I used to suffer from PTSD, and I'm over it fully. Like, I have no symptoms anymore. But I used to have like night terrors, and I used to get like anxiety, and just it was really bad. But yeah, it was really, really challenging for me. And even to admit that on social media for me, and I'm so vulnerable and authentic on social media, which if you guys don't have me on Instagram, which hopefully you guys do, add
100%.
Brittany Michalchuk, BrittanyMichalchuk. But I'm very vulnerable on social media, but that was even hard for me. And I think that it's so hard for so many people to be like, guys, I'm not perfect. These are my challenges. So how do you do it with such grace and strength? And I think what's really important is to ask you how you do it without caring what people think, without worrying about what the haters will think. Because I think that's one of the biggest reasons that stops people from sharing and just opening up and being like, this is who I am, is because they're scared of the criticism and scared of the haters. So how do you deal with that?
And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see so many people not, live to their full potential because of people hating on them. Yeah. Listen, let me be very clear about this. I'm a public figure, right? I've done acting, I've done shows, I've done this and that. I was about to do the Bachelorette. I like shows. I like to do things what I like to do, right? So anyway, whatever you do, once you put yourself out there, once you take a leap of faith in entrepreneurship and coming out of your comfort zone, you're gonna attract hate. You're going to attract
Yes.
envy, jealousy. So please, please, if you take one thing away from this podcast, don't let anyone, not even yourself, get to you, because it's gonna be there. A lot of people don't want to see you win because they feel threatened by you. All right, so they're gonna create stories, they're gonna create hate, they're gonna it and sometimes, unfortunately, they are the loudest, right? Because people that are positive and living their own life to the fullest potential, they don't have time to hate on somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So the people that hate are often the loudest, and that's why it's like, oh my God, please, please don't ever let anyone influence what you're doing because of that.
Yes. That's so true. I completely agree with you. It's usually the haters that are the loudest, because the movers and shakers don't have time to hate on you. Like, Jesse, do me and you have time to sit here and like create fake accounts and like hate on successful people?
Exactly.
Do you know any successful people that are out there making moves that literally have time? Like, you would not be successful if you had time to sit there and hate on other people.
Exactly.
Like, do you think Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey has time to sit there and bash other people? Absolutely not. They are focused on getting their goals. Any time that they have, any energy, like, it's exhausting to hate on people. It's exhausting to tear people down, because you put yourself in a headspace that is not creative, that is not going out there getting shit done. You put yourself in a headspace of absolute, like, disgusting energy, and you can't create success from that energy. You can't create greatness from that energy that you're using to tear other people down and vindictively try and ruin their life. And so I completely agree with you. It's usually the people that need the most love because they're dealing with so many fears and insecurities, and just they're in a place of self-sabotage. And so, you guys, this message is for you, is the people that are trying to sabotage you are only doing it because they're so accustomed to sabotaging themselves. And so you can't take it personally. You have to focus on like doing big things, because in life, I mean, when you're successful, you will just ruffle feathers. And so you've got to keep moving forward. And I just absolutely agree with what you're saying. Just keep on moving forward, keep surrounding yourself by good people, and don't focus on the naysayers, because they have absolutely no business eating your time and energy. I mean, I've been absolutely ripped to shreds. I mean, I've been Miss Calgary. I've been on The Bachelor. I put myself.
You've been on The Bachelor?
That's a whole other story.
Oh, okay.
I was painted as the villain, so that's a whole other story. But
yeah, but that's show. All right.
We're gonna do a sequel round 2 for this podcast. I gotta interview Neo Davis after this, which I'm gonna connect you guys. He's an amazing human being. Little side note, you guys definitely have to listen to Neo Davis' podcast as well. He's a powerful human being. But yeah, so I mean, I've been ripped to shreds, and yeah, it's just, you've got to keep going. I mean, when you are out there doing big things, people will not want to, they will tear you down, and you have to keep going. So I love that about you. I love that you just stay in your power, you stay in your grace, and you keep moving forward. And that's so powerful. And it's just amazing to watch you, to see you blossom, and to just keep going no matter what happens.
Thank you, sweetheart. I really appreciate that. Likewise. And that's why we connected.
I love that. Well, this has been such a powerful podcast. I am so excited to launch this episode. So how can people find you? How can people hire you? How can people get involved with what you're doing? And can you wrap with a little bit about what you're working on, and how people can get involved with you? You're such a dynamic, amazing human being.
Just doing what I love, just living life. But you can definitely find me on my website, meester.com. Obviously, my Instagram, my social. We have a little inner circle group as well on Patreon, where you can join in and be part of like exclusive content we're putting out, and like empowering each other with like really, really good psychology and business tricks. Like, it's really interesting if you're into that. At the same time, you'll get to see more behind the scenes that you don't see on my Instagram, which is the highlighted version. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And obviously the podcast, you know, like this is one of them that, you know, obviously starts now. But from here on, there will be more podcasts following. So
cool.
Yeah, we definitely put it out there. And I really appreciate you so much. Because
Likewise.
you know, by shining your light, you allow me and like many others to do the same.